You don't know what it's like when it comes to never being desired. What you learn and find out later on, after your teens and potentially your 20s, and how long it takes before you fall off, is that your options start to decline. There are men that never had options.
It's an American term, though. Black is an American term.
So they'll consider me black because I'm not American. You get it? So to me, it's just like this whole race shit. But I'm just saying, it's the individual, not the entire race and culture as well. So,
all right.
Jeff?
So I heard like 10 different things going on between the men and women, and I'm going to try my best based on what I heard and key points that I took away from what a lot of you were stating, and then what I think is probably going on. You said an excellent point, and your point about the tolerance factor, the acceptance factor. I don't think you all realize how significant that is when you were younger and you picked the wrong guys that you now know in hindsight weren't good for you. There were good guys there the whole time. They were legit nice dudes.
Facts.
Corny, lame,
Nerds.
That
was me.
Guys that were still students.
But you don't.
Yeah. But hold on. Just to clarify, for every man that you picked, there was a man you didn't. Right. So just peep and catch that for a second. For every man that you picked, there was a man that you omitted. Right.
Or 50.
Right. Or 50. To be fair, right. So. When you're expecting men that you didn't want, that you didn't take, that you didn't go out with, to wait around to when you may feel like dating them, what human being deserves to live like that? There's a segment of black men,
That's a good point,
who actually do like and love black women, wanted them. I went to school with them, and I'm going to give you an example from y'all gonna hate me now of how horrible I was back in the day in my prime. When I was in college, me and my very, very small cohort of guys that was going to a predominantly white institution, a PWI, we ran the school. We ran the school. We ran all up and through the school. All right? So for every woman and we were sharing the same women. We didn't realize it. We learned out later on when we talked. Yo, you messed around with so-and-so. Oh, shit. So what we learned and observed, there were hundreds of guys that were going to the school we was going to, taking the classes we were going to, and they kept coming back to the very guys that wasn't even being in commitments, wasn't even locking it down. So. What's his name? The football player that everybody's wondering about, Travis.
Oh, yeah, he's.
This is an excellent example.
He's cooked.
Of how everybody knows the story. Everybody's talking about the warning, but nobody's talking about all the women that didn't want him until they learned of his name.
Yeah, but they still don't want him.
So what I'm saying is
they still don't want him.
So they want what he got, right? But the point I'm making is, a lot of women. Dr. Umar, who's going through his own challenges right now, he brought up a key point about the finish line. That when you were in high school, if you did go to college, there was an opportunity when you all can choose. Your father's not picking your partner. It's sexual liberation. You could pick your own partners. There were young men who were freshmen like you were. We started experiencing this in high school. When we were sophomores, the sophomore girls wanted to date the juniors. When we got to juniors and seniors, they're dating 24-year-old men. When we get to college, a lot of men were seeing the same exact thing. They were going for the older guys that were in school, the guys that were out of school, or the small subset of men that was in the school that can get all the girls.
Super cool.
Right? So what we're seeing, a lot of men are seeing, there's a huge pool of men that don't qualify for you. You're not interested in them. You're not checking for them. You want the guy that's fun, that's charismatic, that the other women also want. A lot of you did that. Not all, but many of you did that. So the first issue is a lot of men are reacting and responding based off of where they're getting accepted. where they're getting accepted. You all don't know what it's like to not be accepted from 18 to 28.
How you gonna say
What
that?
I mean by that is all of you will get attention from men. All of you will get pursued. All of you have been asked out. We are the pursuers. We're the initiators of asking and pursuing. So when you're the guy that keeps getting declined, or they're not even checking for you, I literally went to a wedding 2 years ago of a guy whose father won the lottery. Nobody knows about it. But because he's not the most handsome, charismatic, good looking, fit dude, he only wanted to date black women. And none of them wanted him for his entire 20s.
Wow.
He ends up with a white woman. And everybody's now saying, see, that's all you wanted. And I'm gonna land. So the first issue is you got to acknowledge that not all, but many of the men, it's not even that they have to come from a place of being jaded and hating black women. They just go where they're accepted.
It's not where you're accepted.
Hold on.
That's at the level that you can retain commitment.
Let me hear what she's saying. Let me hear what she's saying. Go ahead.
She's just saying, like, if you, like, okay, I'm settling for, if you will tell a woman, in other words, she's just like saying, make the language equal for both sides. So if you're going to say that a woman is going to settle, like if I am with a white man because that's what likes me, you're going to say, okay, you're settling for a white man. That's what she's trying to say. But if you say I'm going with a white woman because that's who likes me, they say, go where you're appreciated. That's what she's trying to say. So she's saying, you're settling for a white woman and I'm settling for a white man. We're settling for less, essentially.
No, it's not. Hold on. That's not the same thing, though.
I don't agree.
Okay, I kind of
it's not the same thing.
Can I come back to
I
it?
see what she's
Because it's gonna tie all this together, right? So the same way there is a pool of black men that are being overlooked, those same black men, there's a pool of black women that they're overlooking. Because let's be real. No, currently, let's be real. Most people like who don't like them, right? So you might be a 5, you looking at a 10. Let's be real. You can't be mad that all the 10s don't like you, but you're a 5. And there's probably a 5 looking at you, and you're not looking at
dudes
them.
Aren't mad at that though. Dudes generally speaking aren't mad at that though. They understand the game.
The problem is in school, all the hot black girls didn't want us. Back then.
But like they're
Mike
not
Jones
hot no
though,
more.
we back now with some money. Now they want us, but they can't get us.
But high school is not your home.
So just
I know.
That sounds like insecurity.
So hold on,
You need to go. You need to go heal your childhood wounds.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1
That's
second.
y'all
Hold on
now.
1 second. Just about this piece of what you just brought up. This is the confusion when it comes to understanding the male experience
Exactly.
and the female experience when it comes to dating and relationships. Unless you all are virgins, and unless you all have never been in relationships before,
Oh shit.
you don't know what it's like when it comes to never being desired. What you learn and find out later on, after your teens and potentially your 20s, and how long it takes before you fall off, is that your options start to decline. There are men that never had options
To begin with.
This entirely different frame of reference.
Completely different.
You cannot take the super successful men and say that's the experience for most men. I am screaming at the top of my lungs and trying to tell y'all, there are dudes that when you came here, there were dudes that you walked past, there were dudes that serviced you, there were dudes that do all types of things that are invisible to you. They're invisible to you. That's their life. Y'all start experiencing that when physical things start to decline, when you start adding additional things in your life that are now burdens for the next man.
Buying your own drinks. At the bar.
And you
talking about children.
and you don't typically know, and you don't always typically know what the quote unquote invisibility factor is until you get older and you have to
Guys,
start
come on, man.
buying
Come on,
your
suck it.
own drinks. So I've literally heard women have told me this in therapy sessions. You can look it up and go on YouTube and type in women being invisible, and you'll start to see the decline. The reason why it's so distressing to them is because they went from 18 or 16 to 35 or 40
Never experienced
before they
it.
started even experiencing that. Oh, people ain't asking me out as much.
It's not their norm.
There's guys that was never a norm for them, ever.
Right.
So when I'm speaking to is there's a segment of men, some of them end up in anger and they lash out at black women. They use these podcasts and spaces to talk about how horrible women are. There's other men who go where they're appreciated. There's other men that go abroad. But what I'm saying is be very mindful and careful. If y'all don't want all of you to be viewed and seen in a negative light, and for all black women this, all black women that. I was in an interracial relationship. Y'all have been in interracial relationships. I don't assume that you hate the black community when you did. But there's assumption that when we do it, we do.
Facts.
Okay? So
Only
the
if you're
male-
desirable, though.
Yeah, so when we as men are hearing what y'all are saying, what we're trying to explain is some of the men that you're describing you're totally right. What you're saying, the settling, the hatred, the bigotry, the racism, there are men like that. I am doing life with men who have never in their life uttered negative words about black women. They just went damn near 40 years of their life where black women wasn't checking for them.
Been invisible.
So he has to keep waiting for this unicorn black woman that's going to look past what all the other black women didn't want. Or is he going to go
accepted.
where he's accepted?
Finally be accepted by the
Dr.
black
Umar
woman.
is saying, I'll phrase it this way. If, with me, use me as an example. When I was younger, making less, was even skinnier than I was now, do you think I had more options or less options?
Less options.
Less options. So that means the same, not just black, the same women, all races and cultures that wasn't checking for me. When I started making a little bit more money, I got going in my career. I'm now spending my time with millionaires and on yachts and getting on helicopters and doing all sorts of stuff. And they're seeing it online. The very same women that would not go out with me, that I'm asking out, who look like you, are now wondering why he go with her?
Why we never went out?
Why we... Yo,
Because you ain't want to, stupid.
unless you think I don't have a memory, I distinctly remember asking you out. That is an experience, a lived experience that when y'all are framing this discussion, you got to remember that last piece.